to imagine all life as you know it stopping instantaneously and every molecule in your body exploding at the speed of light.
Total Protonic Reversal.
Protonic Reversal.
Protonic Reversal with your host, Conan Neutron. Broadcasting from a secret underground lair in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
A gigantic middle finger to everything that is rotten about music, rock and roll, and corporate power.
The thing is, though, if you don't laugh, you're going to go on a killing spree with sharpened nails.
Confidence of a hero or a fool. I wasn't exactly certain which.
Could not be more professional.
It means something. It means something. You know, that's my take on it. What's yours?
Protonic Reversal!
That's like a science thing, right?
Indeed it is. It is a science thing. It's a science place. It is a scientific fact that we're all up in your face. It is time once again for the one, the only Protonic Reversal. Welcome to it. Episode 382. As we, the royal we, close in on 10 years of doing this malarkey. Can you believe it? I barely can. 10 years. Good Lord. But yeah, it's been very interesting decade of this show, and I have no reason to stop, so I guess I'm going to keep doing it. Of course, welcome, everybody. Before we get into it with, hopefully not get into it, with the returning guest, Buzz Osborne, who has not been on for quite some time. I'm taking it personally. We'll see. But before we get into it with him, welcome to Conan Neutron's Protonic Reversal. I'm your host, Conan Neutron. I'm a rock and roll lifer that's been touring and recording for 24 years, most known for the band Conan Neutron, The Secret Friends. Music is a huge part of my life, and I use the format of this very long-running podcast to talk about music with musicians whose work I enjoy and respect, but who may not be household names. This is episode 382. Now, if this is your first time listening to the show, our archives of it are available for free. No ads, no sponsors, no kidding, at protonicreversal.com. However, if you want to support the show and get episodes sooner, $1 a month at patreon.com/Protonic Reversal will achieve that goal. And if you like the show, even just a single episode, please feel free to like, subscribe on your platform of choice, share around the internet, even leave a review. All that helps people discover the show, beats back the almighty algorithmic overlords, and it's a darn nice thing to do, really, what it comes down to. So there you go. It's been a bit. Now, my recollection is I don't think I've had Buzz Osborne on this show since the pandemic, and I believe it was with Trevor Dunn. I think that was the dual appearance. But we're gonna get down to the meat of the matter because I'm a big Melvins fan, shocking literally nobody, and I would imagine so are you if you're listening to this, and if not, go screw yourself. Buzz Osborne, welcome to the show, man.
Woo!
Woo!
Welcome back. I think I was on episode 2, and you haven't had me back.
Well, you went on. There was like forever ago that you were on with Dale at the basement of the Great American Music Hall. That was the first time, and that was like maybe the 1900s, I think, something like along those lines.
That was
a while ago.
6.
Right. It's the winter of 6. Yeah.
Back in 6. Yep. Mm-hmm.
But
thank you for having me back.
Pleasure. And the reason why that's interesting to me that it's been a while, episode 148, April 26, 2020. So it's been, wow, it has been 4 years. And you were gearing up to do this tour with Trevor Dunn.
Yep.
At that time.
Look what happened. And everything took a gigantic shit.
A true success story by any measure, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you're about
later,
to
here we are. You know?
You're about to actually do it, right? This is the next thing you're doing. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
In the summer.
It's good. I mean, it's a long time coming. I've been wanting to do this with him for a long time. We're re-releasing my first solo record, This Machine Kills Artists, and Gift of Sacrifice is a double album. And it's also going to have a flexi disc thrown in for of something you haven't heard. Well, some of you might have heard it, but it hasn't had a mass release. So, they'll give us something to push while we're on the road. And, I like to do interviews, but I only like to do them when I have something to sell.
Which luckily you have something to sell quite often. Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't want to do them.
Right. Well, I get it. I mean, look, some people pay for the pleasure of talking to me, but not everybody. Let's put it that way.
No, and not just your interview. I just mean interviews in general. Unless I'm
general.
pushing a tour or something like that, I don't think people want to hear what I say. You know?
Yeah. Opine about the opinions of the day.
No.
The recent one I found out this morning. So at the time of this recording, there's an eclipse happening right now. Not really.
It already happened.
It already happened. Yeah, earlier today.
I saw it.
It wasn't. It was not super spectacular. I mean, it was cool, but like it wasn't like unless you're like I think Indianapolis. I think was like right in the middle of it or whatever. But here's the reason why I'm bringing that up. There were people, I guess, that read somewhere on the internet that it was the end of days. So they like took their children out of school and they decided to stay home. And it's like, okay.
I
don't even know where to start or begin with that.
End of days? Why would it be
I don't even know what it is. Like, all I know is I have some friends that are teachers that are like, yeah, the schools are empty today. I'm like, what? Why? Is everyone like outside looking at it?
Well, I guess, if you're into science, it'd be cool, but to take them out because you think the world's going to... That was like when the Mayan calendar ended. It was like the end of the world. It was like they couldn't even predict the end of their own civilization, let alone the end of the world.
Like Nostradamus, it was like, Nostradamus said Nostradamus, like the interpretation of that was like 5 times, and it wasn't right any time. So okay, whatever.
You mean Nostradamus?
There has to be a punk band called that, right?
Nostradamus. There better be.
If not, we're giving away free material here.
Well, it's like my wife.
Yeah.
My wife always says, she goes, "You're not gonna get out of it this easy. The world's not gonna end. You're gonna be here for the duration. You're gonna be suffering the whole time."
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be an easy way out, like the world ending. You know, no.
I will say if it is kind of fitting that if it was an apocalypse, we got a really mundane one where it's like, yeah, this is just lame. This is like, you don't get to do certain things. This is like the worst apocalypse ever. It doesn't look
the
cool,
lazy apocalypse.
Know?
It's
you don't get to shoot people on the street. You don't get to riot.
You know, we could riot, but we really couldn't be bothered.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not that big.
There's all this content to watch. There's all these shows.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I know the world is supposed to end, but if we kind of don't do anything, will it end?
Right, exactly.
I don't know. I just, I've seen a bunch of a few eclipses. I saw one in...
I thought you were going to say a few apocalypses, which would be impressive.
But I saw one in high school where it got so dark that the street lights went on.
Oh, wow. Now that's dark. Okay.
That was dark. I was on my way to school and the street. Yeah, I think that was the closest I've been to like a center. That would have been in the early 80s sometime, I graduated in 80, so it would have been around in there.
So it was like a total eclipse then.
Yeah, it got really dark. I couldn't believe how dark. It was amazing.
Yeah.
I didn't occur to me at that time that the world was ending.
Right. Was it your first? That wasn't your first reaction?
We knew that the eclipse was happening. We knew how they worked, and none of us believed that was going to be the end of the world.
It's funny how
maybe that's what the internet has brought us, all this paranoia.
So that's what we've used this tool that we can access all of information through all time with. We've used it to spread maybe the dumbest conspiracy theories ever known to man, which is fantastic.
Maybe and you get to see like an Instagram video with somebody that's got 9 million viewers who shows little tiny dog tricks.
Sure. It's good for that too. I put that under a category that I call things that will blow the founding fathers' minds if you show it to them.
Yeah. What we've come to realize is the stupider the thing you post on the internet, the more it'll get watched.
Oh, absolutely.
Exactly. Everybody has a sense of humor, regardless of how it doesn't seem like it might be that way, but I think it is.
The dumber the better, really.
The dumber the better. The dumber the better, and as long as it's not above 8th grade humor, then you're going to do fine. Because then you're just trying to be a hard ass.
Somebody getting in the nuts, for instance. I mean, Jesus, that's like that's gold. That's all gold.
People getting hurt.
Yeah,
I will never tire of stupid people, or not even stupid people, just people getting hurt. I will never tire. I will always, like on Instagram, when it says content may be sensitive. You know, do you still want to view video?
Hell yeah, I do. Why do you think I'm here, man? Jeez.
4-year-old kid in a wheelchair getting mowed over by an 18-wheeler. It's like, did you watch it? I did watch it. Did you like it? I'm on the fence about liking it, but I did watch it.
Yeah, I did see it. It's like it used to be to see that kind of thing. You had to see like Faces of Death or something, right? Like on
Right,
VHS.
because it doesn't tell you what the content's going to be. It just says, "Do you want to see content?" You know, and after tell you, so you don't know what you're in for. So it's kind of like it's kind of like a.
I don't know if I want to see it.
It's kind of like a gas station glory hole. You don't know what's going to happen. You have no idea. Take your chances. See what happens.
Let's roll the bones. Let's see how this shakes out.
Woo! Literally.
Yeah, that's the wooest of woo moments for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, and so I did want to bring up the fact that you are actually on Instagram, or at least posting on Instagram, some really cool photography. Yeah. Now, this is just something. For the most part, this is just off of your phone, right? This is not like you're not like a big photography equipment kind of guy, right?
I take pictures with my phone sometimes, but I also have a Leica fixed lens camera that I've taken pictures for a long time.
Oh, cool.
With. And it's a deluxe type 109. It's one of the lower level ones. What I don't want is a gigantic camera. It's not big, so it fits right in my hand. I can take pictures. I take pictures with that thing all the time. I take it with me on tour. And the funny thing is people will, I don't tell people which is which, right? Like they'll go, "How did you take this picture? What kind of camera did you use?" I go,
"You tell me."
I used a digital camera. Well, is it digital or is it film? Are you looking at it on the internet? It's clearly digital.
Yeah, at some point it's going to be digital, bro.
Everything on here is digital. Nothing we can do about it. But I mean, all my photography is digital. But no one can ever guess which. Well, this one has to be the Leica. And I was like, nope. Because I mean, the thing about it is with cameras, as long as you know what your limitations are, I know what will work with an iPhone, and I know what won't. And so I wouldn't even try to take a picture that, I'll do it for my own amusement, but I was going to try to take a good picture with low light. I probably wouldn't use the iPhone. Yeah. But outside, it's the person, not the gear.
Definitely. And that's something that I've always felt that, okay, you can have all the best equipment in the world, but if you don't know how to compose a shot, like, who cares? Like, it doesn't matter.
Same with music. You can't throw technology at something and make it creative.
Right.
This doesn't work. But photography is something that's interested me since I was a kid. I just never had the money to pursue it really hardcore because I could never afford film or developing, and all that stuff was real expensive when I was a kid. I did very little of it, but I loved it. I always loved it. And then when digital photography came along, I never wanted to have I really embraced it even more so. But I always have. I have thousands and thousands of pictures that I would just never show anyone. I would just have them. I'd show like, friends or laugh at them with my wife or whatever. And people were just like, "Oh, you should post these. These are good." And I've never been on social media. Didn't really have much interest. And then I finally did a few years ago. I did the Instagram thing, and so far so good. It seems good. But there's not going to be selfies or pictures of my lunch or any of that kind of stuff. And I think it's fine.
Sure.
People do that kind of stuff, but that's not what mine's for. I don't use it as a platform to, and I'm not saying this is wrong for people to do, but I don't use my particular one for, putting up show dates or announcing an album. Mm-hmm. That's not what it's for. It's not what it's for me. We have the Melvins one that we can use that for. People can figure that kind of stuff out without me. Have a selfie of me in front of a sold out show. Don't care about that. Some people get excited about those kinds of things. I'm not one of them.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not a judgment call on what people do or how they do it. I don't care. I think if you're in a band we have the the Melvins one, and that one is great. I mean, we use it. That's exactly what we use it for, and that's the way it should be. And but that's only social media I've ever been on, ever. I don't put videos and it's just that's just my own choice. I mean, I enjoy all the videos that are on there, and I enjoy being on Instagram. I think it's cool. I would have loved to have that. I would have absolutely loved it because you see all these pictures and all this cool stuff, all these videos that people have made. The thing that interests me, though, that everybody has a camera now. Everybody has a video camera and a camera with them at all times. Why aren't there more pictures of UFOs and Bigfoot?
You would think, right? It's 4K video. Can you imagine if like Kubrick had that or something, right? I mean, Jesus.
Everybody has a camera now. I think there'd be more. No.
Yeah,
it doesn't do much for the existence of that stuff,
Yeah.
So far,
right.
we've
somebody
single person almost on Earth with a camera. No more pictures of amazing pictures of UFOs or Bigfoot. Huh?
Law of averages. You think somebody would get it,
right? You think lots of pictures of people or videos of people getting kicked in the nuts, though. Massive amount
in 4K.
Or stupid dog tricks. I'm super into. I love all that. I love it.
High def.
I'm really into things like looking at Jack Russell Terriers and all. There's just so much stuff.
Sure.
There's so much on the internet, just in general, not just on social media. That I've always said that like YouTube would have been something I would have been completely. I would have been so into it when I was 12, 13. It's like, what did these bands look like? What did they, what did Kurt look like? What did he play? What do they sound like? You can find that out in an instant. And for every bad thing that people can come up with, there's 10 good things about this,
Stuff that's out of print is on there. Great.
Right. Movies, trailers, just everything you can possibly imagine. And I think it's really cool. I'm not trying to go backwards with you just embrace it for what it is. Times change, I don't want to be a Luddite. I just don't. I just don't want to. I don't have any interest in that. I would rather just enjoy it for what it is. I mean, communication is easier now than ever, and I think that that's really cool. I knew that quite a while ago when some kid came up to me at a show we were playing in San Francisco and said, "I'm from Israel," and I came to your show. I go, "Oh, well, how'd you know about it?" On the internet. It's like, oh, right. That's what I feel. It's just like the thing. Oh, this is all over the whole world. Got it. So it's just like, I love that. I love that. Really cool.
And people take it for granted all the time, but it has really changed the world in a very interesting way that you have that ability for free.
Yeah, I think it's for the better. I think there's no bad side to this. Not that I can think of.
I think that it's it's funny you mentioned that Melvin's being very future forward, right? All your releases, it always seems like they're like on YouTube immediately. So if you want to listen for free, it's right there. But you can buy the record if you're a person that likes a tactile object. You have a piece of art that like is unique and cool and never will be made in this particular fashion or capacity again. Yeah. And if you don't, that's fine too.
Well, there's not much we can do about it getting put on the internet. I mean,
yeah.
We don't put them up there. Somebody does it immediately.
Yeah.
We don't try to stop them. It's just like, bands that like don't want people filming at shows. It's like, go ahead and film all you want. If you want to watch a shaky, dark, and distant back club of us, it doesn't bother me in the least. This is what people want to do.
In 4K.
Who am I to tell them they're wrong? Right. Who am I to tell them they're wrong? It's like, enjoy the show however you want to. As long as you're not bothering me, film all you want. I think.
Well, and that's
allow.
Oh, go ahead.
I think it's a mistake for bands not to allow it. Seems dumb. Yeah.
Like the whole. I saw a thing. Tony Visconti was talking about how he went to see the Stones for was it Hackney the new thing. Right? They did a release show and they made everybody put their phones in a special pouch. It was like a Faraday cage and like it was this whole rigmarole. And apparently there was a DJ that didn't like. He had a really cranky post that he made about it. It was very funny because even though like I like the Stones, but I just loved how like salty he was getting about all the minor inconveniences. But also these guys didn't want it filmed on their phones, and I guess I get that. But like. Okay, like really, you have like a special pouch that everyone has to put their phones into, and like, okay, this is like probably some big thing, right? It costs money to be here.
Well, some people don't want it. They don't want to be able to do that, or they want to control how you enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
You want to stare at your phone instead of staring at the people on stage. And I don't care. Enjoy it however you, as long as you're not bothering me. It doesn't bother me to see people holding up a phone.
Yeah.
I just think it just gives you more life. So now you have some weird life on the internet, and no matter how they film it, I don't care what quality it is. It's like it's never going to be the same as being there. So
right.
If people enjoy doing it that way, fine. But they're not going to be able to substitute it for actually being at the concert. But I don't want to tell people. I'm not good at that kind of thing where people, well, you should not have your phone out while you're watching. Isn't it much better for you? It's like, you know what, bitch? I didn't even know I wanted to film your show until you told me I couldn't.
Now that's all I want to do now. Yeah.
Now all I want to do is film it and put it on the internet immediately.
Yeah. And that was sort of Visconti's take on it. Too. It was like I didn't even want to take pictures or film, but now that I can't do it, F you, Nick.
Right. I mean, the Stones. What is he? 80? It's like okay, I give him a break, whatever, But it's not for me. I think it's silly, Maybe they don't want somebody filming one of them actually expiring right there on stage,
live on stage.
Maybe.
Oh man.
Falls over. But you're right. I love the Stones. Don't get me. I mean,
same here.
I will never tire of that music. Certain eras
doesn't hurt the enjoyment of the records,
No, not me. No, there's a good stretch of records from like Beggar's Banquet through Some Girls that, to me, are some of my favorite records ever made. I'll never tire of that stuff. Never ever tire of it. Listen to it all the time, one form or another.
Well, it's I always ascribe it to the same thing with Iggy Pop, right? Like, I mean, he put out some records in the 80s that you'd have to pay me to listen to, but he's still from the Stooges, He's got a lifetime pass for doing whatever the hell he wants.
I think so. There's lots of people like that. David Bowie was like that. David Lynch. There's just all kinds of people where you just go, leave them alone. John Waters.
let him cook,
let them do
man.
what they want. I couldn't write a bad review of anything any of those people did, including the Stones. I would just not write a review.
Well, look at that Lou Reed Metallica record, right? They didn't have to do that.
I love that record.
It was the weirdest, what did they do? Okay, cool.
They didn't have to do that at all, but I think that record's really good. I think people that don't like it, they're wrong. I was expecting not to like it. I went into it thinking it was just going to be a joke and totally stupid, and I can't believe it, but I have to hear it. And when I heard it, I was like, I actually like this. This is actually kind of cool. And I ended up really liking it. So I think it's one of my favorite Metallica records. I actually had somebody scream at me about that. How can you hate them so much that you would think that was their best record? I was like, I didn't say I hated them. I said I thought that was their best record. They put it out.
Took a mad swing.
They put it out. If they put it out, then that must mean they have it out there for people to go, this is my medium favorite. This is my most favorite. I mean, I think it's really cool and severely underrated.
I did hear somebody describe. I thought this was very funny. It sounded that one of the songs sounded like Grandpa Simpson wandering through a guitar center. I thought that was pretty funny. But that said,
that's funny. I expected to hate it. And I did not hate it.
No, it's. I
mean, like to be surprised like that. I like to be surprised. I think it's cool. I'm still a music
Metallica fan. Definitely did not need to do that. They could have done whatever they wanted.
They don't need to do anything.
That.
They don't need to do anything at all. Neither does the Stones.
Forever.
They don't need to do anything. Stones don't need to do a thing. Metallica doesn't need to do a thing. No, and what's weird is we did some shows last year with Lars.
Lars's kids band. Yeah.
Taipei.
What is it?
Taipei Houston. Right. They're probably my favorite new band. They are fucking great. I was awesome. Couldn't believe it. And our booking agent goes, what do you think of this stuff? And he sends me a song, and I was like, not sure what I was going to think. And then when I heard it, I was like, oh my God, this isn't commercial sounding at all. And it doesn't sound at all like Metallica. And I don't know what this is, but I am just completely floored by it. They're super great kids and super great musicians. I mean, the stuff is very, very well conceived, thought out, well executed, and I thought they were great, and they're super great live. They're just totally great. And Lars came to one of our shows, two of our shows actually, when we played with them, one in San Francisco and one in London.
Oh wow, cool.
And I told him, I go, I don't know how you raise those kids, but those are two of the nicest people I've ever been around. So good work, buddy. You did a great job.
Well, and you know, I confess I haven't heard them. I didn't.
I would recommend it. I would highly recommend it.
I keep meaning to check it out, and then I'll be like, oh yeah, I need to check that out. But they didn't play on, I think, around where I was. But that said, they could literally do anything, and people would listen to it just because it's Lars's kids band. But I like that they chose to do something, you know, by all accounts, is very interesting. Like very kind of like, you know, oh, this is not the safe path necessarily, or the thing that people would expect. Yeah, I think that's cool.
I think it was really cool, and like the drummer, he went to Juilliard, I think, for drums.
Oh, wow,
something like that. And I don't think he stayed. He didn't like it very much, but he's fucking kick-ass drummer, and the player plays through a guitar amp and a bass amp and switches back and forth. So he'll do like
cool
intro that sounds like a guitar, and then he'll kick on the bass amp. You know,
yeah,
it's really kind of cool. It's really kind of clever, and he's a great singer. And they were really good. I really super enjoyed being around them, and I really enjoyed their band, and it was a lot of fun. You know.
Yeah, Dale was talking about him too, and I was like, oh yeah, I gotta remember to like listen to that band. And for whatever reason, I hate to say it, it's not even a hard name. I just keep forgetting the name. What's that band's name again? And then I'll just like kind of scratch my head.
Yeah.
And that's a me problem.
Don't ask me to.
There was a band that I love called Beat Drun Jewel, and it's spelled all like weird and funky. It was the band that Donna from Juna was in before Juna. And I swear it took me a year to remember the band's name. And after I did, it was like, oh, this is my favorite band. But it took me like a year to remember the name. Just like, not good. Not great.
I'm terrible remembering people's names, too. I can remember faces, but not names.
You could do like George W. Bush and just give everyone a nickname. Hey, Smiles.
Hey, buddy. How's it
going? What's up, Chuckles? And what are you going to do? Like, you know, if someone's like the boss. Oh, yeah, sure thing, boss. Oh, does he not know my name? Like, why does he keep calling me that?
You know, in a lot of ways, I don't want him to know my name because then he can't pin anything on me.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah. Yeah. Let's get Smiley in here. Which one's Smiley? Ooh. Who are you talking about?
No, I don't know any Smiley.
No one here by that name.
No.
No idea. Sorry. All right. Having nothing to do with Smiley, I was listening to Tarantula Heart earlier. This is an interesting record.
Yeah,
this is the latest. I love how this was made. This is made very differently than a lot of records. Can you explain the process behind it? Because I think you end up like the drums especially sound very different, and one of the reasons why I think is like the drums came first, right?
Yeah, I don't think if I had to explain the process in the bio, I don't think anyone would have. They might have thought it sounded weird, but I don't think they would have realized how weird, you know. But I thought the process was so strange that people needed to know that's how we did it. So first off, we have never played those songs together ever, not once, you know.
Right.
And it's not digital editing where I took a bunch of different drum parts and just edited them together into a beat that would work. It's not that. And what we did was about 2 years ago, we were on tour with Ministry. It was the first tour we did after the pandemic. And Roy, the drummer from Ministry, would come out after a few shows, he would come out and play a couple of songs with us every night. And so about, I don't know, partway through the tour after that, I was like, oh, we should do some recording together. It'd be great. Have you come over and do some drums. Oh, I'd love it. I live in LA, you know. Sure. And so, I don't know, a couple months after we were done with the tour, whenever he had some free time, I go, yeah, come on over. He goes, well, I also have a whole bunch of synthesizers. So he brought some vintage ARP synthesizer over there, and to Toshi's. You've been there.
Of course, recently, even.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I go, well, we have a regular drum set, so you can, bring any kind of drums you want. Anything, anyway, so he brought over not really a wacky setup, but probably a different setup than he would normally use. And we set up drums. We had absolutely no clue what we were going to record. I had a few basic riffs for us to kind of play along to. And me and Steven were in the control room kitchen area of the studio. Mm-hmm. And the drummers are listening to us through headphones. So there's complete separation of our guitar and bass. But none for the drums. But then we started jamming, and we did, over the course of 2 days, we did probably, I don't know, somewhere between 12 and 15, like 15-minute to 20-minute jams, quote unquote jams.
Sure.
Without any idea about what we would do with it. And then Roy laid down a bunch of synthesizer stuff by himself, and then we had Dale play along while Roy was doing synthesizer stuff, all pretty aimless, right?
Yeah.
And then I took rough mixes of all that stuff, and I went home with them all and just sat there listening. And the first thing that I came up with was this song, "Allergic to Food."
Right.
That one.
Right. Yeah.
I went to one of the jams, and I found a section where, like a 6-minute section or more or whatever it is, and where the drums kind of lock up, and what they're doing, they kind of get it. They get going really well, and then there's no discernible pattern. There kind of is, but sometimes it's 2 times, sometimes it's 1 time when they do this change in it. And so then I sat down and I tracked all that out, like on a piece of paper, how many times everything was in this like 6-minute section. And then I wrote new music with all that in mind, and then wrote lyrics with all that in mind, and then took it into this, went in with Tosh and go, start it right here at this point, stop it right here at this point, and that'll be the basis of the song. And then recorded all the new stuff on it, had Steven come in and put some bass down, did some vocals, and then played it for everybody. And they were like, what the hell is this? I don't recording this, because it's totally different. It's totally different than what we did. And so,
what they would have played would have been different if you'd been playing those guitar parts or the bass parts or whatever, I'm sure.
Their accents are all in the wrong spots, and it gives it that you can't get any other way. And once I did that song, I was like, oh, I could do a whole record like this. Yeah. So what I set out to do, and it took me probably off and on, but since we have the studio there with Tosh, I don't have to have exact times. I can just do whenever I have time, can run down there and do some stuff with him. I don't have to go block out 2 weeks or anything. I just ask him, when do you have a day, or when do you have 2 days? I would go in there and dick around with stuff, and then send it to the guys, and they would like be amazed at like how this all worked. And then I got we did a tour with this band, We Are the Asteroid, and the guitar player Gary Chester was in this band. Ed Hall,
Ed Hall, yeah.
They were on Boner with us when we were on them in the late 80s, early 90s. And I always liked Gary a great deal, and I always thought he was a great player, and I was really wanted to do something with him. It's taken this long for that to happen. So we were on tour with his new band, We Are the Asteroid, a little over a year ago in the fall. I said, you got, at the end of the year, you got to come out and play some guitar on this. So then there's all kinds of places that I'd left in there with that in mind, where me and him then played just massive amounts of guitar solos and stuff.
Oh, that one is insane. There's like 50 guitar solos on it.
Yeah.
I love it.
And
it reminds me of that one Butthole Surfers record they had with John Paul Jones, where it's just like Paul's just going nuts like the entire time on a couple songs, and it's like great.
I'm a big fan of all that stuff, and I like the adventurousness of it all, and we spent a couple of days out there, all day sessions, just doing, let's try this, let's try that. And he would play a solo. I would then stop, we just went back and forth and did a whole bunch of great stuff. And that was the whole record. So he wasn't there for the creative end of it, but he definitely added a lot on. I knew his sensibilities would work really well. There's not a lot of normal guitar players that I would feel would add a whole lot to what we're doing. I can play really fucked up guitar, but I can also play normal guitar just fine. If I was going to bring somebody, I would want somebody that had like Gary, who has a really good command of the instrument, but also is way out in the tall weeds when it comes to what he's capable of,
Right. Some non-Euclidean geometry guitar.
And we had a great time. And then Tosh went to work mixing it. And he said that the main thing that he had to do while mixing all this stuff was hit the mute button thousands of times.
I believe it. No, I believe it. But
so, okay, mute it. Solo that, okay, mute it.
Yeah. Well, because it would be like cacophony the entire time if you didn't otherwise, I'm sure.
Yeah. And so I did an interview not too long with Tosh. He was like didn't know if it would work, but once he got into the mixing and really started putting it together, then he goes, "Oh, Buzz was right. This will work. This will totally work. Really good." And I didn't know what anybody would think. You live with a record like that for a long time. I sent it to the guys at Ipecac, who would have put it out no matter what, but they were like, "This might be our favorite record you've done." I was like, "Really? That's amazing."
It's pretty unique sounding because like there is something almost like off-putting and unsettling about that. The drums are so cool and like they're doing such cool interplay with them, but it almost like doesn't fit the way that you expect it to. So it kind of hits in a way that like there's something kind of uneasy about it, but also there's elements of it that are like God, pain equals funny. There's like movements to that.
Oh my God,
it's like
it's
like a 19-minute song.
We did a little bit of that in our last record, and very capable of listening to long songs. It doesn't bother me, just like long movies,
sure,
like that. And I'm not trying to, I haven't ever tried to write, bright and breezy pop tunes, 2.5 minute songs or anything. I never thought that I had any kind of constraints along those lines at all. I could do whatever I wanted. And full sides of albums with one song is nothing new for us. It's nothing new. I feel comfortable doing it.
And there's a rich tradition of it, right? I mean, look like Echoes or like Maggot Brain or like Down by the River or whatever. There's plenty of Audubon, Kraftwerk.
Echoes might be my favorite. It's top 3 Pink Floyd songs, I think.
Metal's I think my favorite Pink Floyd record, actually.
It's great, but what the version of Echoes that really, really gets me is the Live at Pompeii version.
Oh, so good.
So I will never, ever, ever. And those are huge influences on what we're doing, but they always have been.
Yeah.
That's nothing new. I mean, I was even when we were, first starting out, I was just as equally into punk rock as I was into Led Zeppelin or any of these bands, because I didn't grow up with anybody telling me what was cool or what wasn't. So, Black Flag and Van Halen in the same week, like a good idea to me, I never had any problem with that. Never had any problem. I didn't know I wasn't supposed to like Led Zeppelin.
Which now, I mean, the kids now, thankfully, they don't have those hangups. But there was definitely like the punk rockers over here and metalheads over here, and everyone agrees on Motorhead. But other than that, like it's no, we can't be friends. What? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, so that stuff's always been there for us. I never concern myself with that sort of thing. But the intimacy of punk rock and like in smaller environments and things like that always interests me much more than an arena did. But and as time goes on, I have way less tolerance for gigantic shows with thousands of people as a fan,
Yeah. Because it's usually it sounds like crap. It's got a bunch of jerk offs around you.
When you get to an audience of that size, I'm scared of these people.
Yeah, it's like a Coliseum event or something.
People, not that I'm not scared at a punk rock show, of those people either, but at least it's not tens of thousands. So
They don't outnumber you. Exactly. I could take them.
yeah, I'll be okay. There's the exit right there. I can get that.
That's the nice thing about an indie rock crowd. Like, I can take them.
I wouldn't even worry about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
First off, I wouldn't even be there. So
Well, look, if you're gonna go that far out, yeah. No, but I mean, I know what you're saying. Like, I remember, coming at things from someone into weird music and punk rock and whatever. I remember having my mind blown of like finding those early Alice Cooper band records and being like, wow, this stuff is great. Like, how did I not know this? Right. And that's because, like, when I found Alice Cooper, he was like in that sort of mid 80s kind of like whatever he was doing then. I was like, yeah, it's fine, whatever. And then I was like, no, but this is amazing. Like, these records are cooking in a way that like nobody ever told me. Nobody told me. I didn't know.
Right. I mean, I like those records, but I really like Killer and
Killer.
All like the first 5 albums.
$1 Billion Babies. Great.
That. School's Out. I mean, School's Out might be a perfect album.
Love It to Death.
Love It to Death but the Killer is the one that when I was a kid, I was just like, these guys are fucking scary and their music is amazing. Yeah. That's what it looked like to me. They were not kidding around. They were not the kind of hippies that, there's no peace and love there.
Yeah, an absence of peace and love. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I am still a huge, massive fan of that stuff. It's another band I will never, when I was 12 years old, I still like all the bands I liked then. And I think about it and I was like, I had good taste when I was a kid, Alice Cooper was good. Who were good. I was right. And so I that stuff stuck with me this entire time. And those sensibilities, talked about it recently, but things like, Live at Leeds and might be the greatest live
record of all time.
Yeah. You learn a lot of lessons from stuff like that early on. Like, the songs don't have to sound exactly like they do in the record. I'm still excited by all that stuff as much as I was when I was a kid.
Right. Yeah, I was on there's another show I do sometimes where we go over all the records that came out that year and just talk about them in context of whatever. It's like the easiest show in the world. I would literally do this already, just talking to someone regularly. So it's the easiest show in the world. But we were talking about 1984 and then My War. And how like, oh yeah, everyone hated it when it came out. Everyone was like, we don't want this. What are you talking about? Like, where's a six pack?
I saw them on that tour.
Did you really? How was that?
I'd seen them before that, and they were great. They were really good. I thought that record was great. I thought the song My War was maybe one of the best Black Flag songs ever.
I agree.
And then the side 2, I mean, I was already into bands like Flipper and that level of plottiness was nothing I wasn't already kind of into, so it wasn't hard for me to embrace that totally. A song like Nothing Left Inside, I think, is a fucking great song. I don't know what people are talking about. Once again, I just didn't feel like I had it didn't seem that alien to me.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the difference really between In My Time of Dying by Led Zeppelin and the side 2 of My War?
It's probably the same tempo, actually.
Not a whole lot different.
You can do a mashup of those.
Exactly. That might be one of my favorite Zeppelin songs, God knows where they stole that from, but But yeah, like 1984, God, I'd like to. The My War record is great. You know what struck me about it is how cool that cover looked.
Oh yeah, it's like jarring. It catches your attention immediately. It's like the blue, that bright. It's my favorite color of blue. First of all.
Oh my God, and the puppet with holding a knife.
It's like, this means business, whatever this is.
Yeah. Next year they put out, or not long after they put out Slip It In.
Right.
And that concert when they played in Seattle was the very first punk rock concert Kurt Cobain ever went to.
No kidding. Really?
have to go
I
and
didn't
see,
know that.
have to go and see these guys with us, And
Yeah.
good as the My War tour was, the Slip It In tour was better. They were fucking. That's the best time I ever saw Black Flag was that tour.
Kira was playing bass for them at that point, I think. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had her on the show a couple years back. She's a gem, man. She's a
I've
great
never-
player.
I'm not good at meeting anybody, so I'm too about it. I'm the world's worst. So if you want to go to this party? I'm good. I'm not comfortable at them. Don't.
I could just hang out here and not do that. That would be good too.
Hands full doing all kinds of other stuff. But I don't know. I heard Bukowski was talking about how he got out of World War II. He said he went saw the psychiatrist at the draft board. And they were like, "Oh, you're a writer." He goes, "Yeah." It was before he was famous at all. He's like, "Yeah, right." And he goes, "Oh, well, I'm interested in that sort of thing, and I know all kinds of intellectuals and people like that. And I'm having a party at my house tonight there'll be writers and painters and all these intellectuals there. And it'd be great if you could come. Do you want to come?" No, I'm good. You don't have to go to the war. And he asked him, "Do you believe in this war?" No. Would you go if we made you go? Yeah. Okay, you don't have to go. I was sitting there listening to him because he's describing it, and I'm like, I know exactly what he's talking about.
Yeah. Hard relatable, right?
Do you want to go to this party with a bunch of other musicians? No, I'm good.
Nah. Sounds lame.
And maybe not lame, but just lame for me.
Yeah.
It's not a judgment call on him having fun at all. I just wouldn't go,
Well, good for you for knowing what your interest level in that would be, though, so you don't put yourself out and then be like, I don't want to be here.
I've done it too much. I didn't want to be there, and it's nobody's fault but my own. It's not like I'm think that they're not cool enough or something like that. No, it's me. It's not them. It's me.
Right.
And I would want people to think that was the case. It's not the case at all. It's not that I'm hanging out.
Well, then people internalize, oh, he's not having a good time. Like, well, it's not you, man. It's
not you.
Probably shouldn't be here.
I should be here. So I'm not good at networking, and I know a lot of people, but I'm not very good friends with people all the time, and I'm hard to get to know, when it comes to that sort of thing. Easy to be around when I am there, but hard to get to know, definitely.
Last guest I had on the show before talking to you was Greg Norton from Hüsker Dü.
Oh, yeah.
And now Ultra Bomb. And that reminded me of you guys' cover of Data Control that was with Helms Lee.
Yes.
Came out a while ago. It was very cool. I was
I
stoked to hear that.
That worked out really good. And that was really fun to do. And, Gary Chester played on that too.
Oh, did he really? I did not know that. Okay. All right. I forgot it either way.
Stuff on here too. So he did. Great. But
why that song in particular?
I always loved that song.
It's good.
That was my. I just thought that song was kick ass and amazing.
Yeah.
And I've wanted to cover it for a long time. We actually tried covering it. I never liked the versions we did till we did it, till the Helms Lee version. And I saw Hüsker Dü the Fours in Arcade on the Metal Circus tour.
Oh man.
Yeah, and they were really good. And then I saw them. We played with them the next time they came through Seattle. And then I saw them probably four more times after that. And not their last couple tours, but they were always good. They were always, ripping, totally great. I think, especially Metal Circus and Zen Arcade, if they'd only made those two records, I'd be fine with it.
Hall of Fame of forever. Yeah, exactly. Well, and that's what's so funny. Like 84 also Zen Arcade comes out and Double Nickels on the Dime, both punk rock double albums, which is that arms race thing.
Saw them. They were playing Zen Arcade songs that weren't out yet.
Oh, because they would do the thing. They would play the songs for the record they haven't done yet, right?
Yeah. because there was no internet, so it didn't ruin it for anybody.
Right.
So you could do that.
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
Because I actually got the set list that night, so I don't know what I did with it, but I had a set list. And later, when it came out, I go, "Oh, these are all those songs from that they played." A bunch of them. But like, there's a song on Metal Circus that I always really love called "Out in a Limb."
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh, that song's so good. They were great. They were great, man. Really weird and eclectic, and not afraid to do weird stuff. And that Land Speed record, that's all just one track on each side. There's no separation on anything. And they weren't worried about it. They can do it.
They were pushing boundaries every time, man. Every time.
Yeah, I love that stuff. That's Zinarcade and Metal Circus are two records I will never tire of. They'll be in heaven from now on. They have been since they came out.
So you had tried to record Data Control before, though, and it just didn't sound good, or it didn't work, or what was the problem?
It didn't work. For whatever reason, it just wasn't. I didn't think it worked. I can't remember what we changed for that final version. I don't know what it was. It didn't have the energy I thought it needed.
Yeah.
The live version on that record, well, it's all live versions of that record, and that's the only version they ever did of that song that I know of. Was always they were just pushing it, really pushing it, and so I felt like that's how that had to be, But Hüsker Dü were a huge influence on us, massive, just gigantic influence. I always loved that stuff, and thought they were great players, really good singers, And I never really knew any of those guys, but Greg Norton, I mean, they were one of the best bands from that era, I think. Certainly one of the best bands I saw from that era. There were lots of good bands I saw around that same time, like Really Red. Fucking awesome. A whole bunch of bands like that. Tales of Terror from Sacramento were fucking
Sacramento
times. They were really good. There's lots of bands like that were really good.
That's when the Donut song, right? You have was that Tales of Terror?
No.
I'm thinking of a different band.
Popo Pies.
Papa Pie. That's I don't know why I always confuse those two.
Tales of Terror were kind of like a Dead Boy Stooges-ish band.
Yeah.
And Popo Pies were more arty, kind of. But Popo Pies were fucking great. I saw them a couple times in the early 80s. I saw them once open up for Iggy Pop. That was pretty good.
Nice.
They were great. They were really good, too. There's always... You can always find bands from almost any era, but there's just not very many. Yeah. Probably about as many good bands now as there's ever been,
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, because with Helmsley, I knew Helmsley because I knew Ben's former band Conan, and especially Hosey's old band Lozen, who we played with a lot. And I knew that those two had a band together. I'm like, oh, I bet that's going to be really good. Yeah. And then it was like their third show out or something, and I just was like, oh my, whoa, what's happening right now? This is incredible. Like, they're so unique and crazy.
Oh, I think she's a great drummer. They're super nice people. We've done 2 tours of them, and it's just been a joy. Right. Super great.
I saw one of them, Madison High Noon, one of the High Noon shows. I saw that one.
They're really good. They're one of my favorite bands. They're not new. They're not a new band, but they're newer. Yeah. But everybody's
very consistent.
Newer than us.
I suppose so, if you look at it that way. Yeah.
41. But first year. Yeah.
Well, so how did that come to do the collab, the Data Control and all the rest of that record? How did that come to pass? You toured with them and just like, hey, let's make something?
Yes. Let's get together. And so we did that before the pandemic. And then the pandemic fucked everything. It took us a long time to get the whole thing done. Then I finally finished it, and came out last year. And worked really well. I mean, I think it's really a really great record, really great one. We got a new one with Trevor coming out, and then I have a limited edition thing with Hazelmeyer, me and Trevor, for the tour we got, and then we're gonna do one with Boris, a split.
Oh yeah, because you did that whole tour. The tour I saw you guys at Rave.
Yes,
I didn't. It's hot as hell in that room, by the way.
Yeah, right. But it's not. We're not playing together. You know, we didn't have a chance to. We didn't record or anything like that. So that was great.
Oh, so it's just like yeah. So it's just like a split release where both bands do songs. Okay.
Yep. And then what else we got? We got the new album, Tarantula Heart's coming out, and then the double album re-release. It's always got something. And then Phantomos just re-released all the Phantomos records on vinyls.
Oh yeah. What's up with that band? Anything?
No. I mean, I'm down. Mike's deal. I mean, really.
Yeah.
If he wants to do it, then we take it from there. But so far, nothing. I think Phantomos would probably have a lot of interest. People would
I think so too.
But it's not my thing. I mean, I can't say yay or nay to it. So, and without Mike, there's really no band. So.
Right. I talked to Lombardo last year, I think. Cool guy. I never had him on the show before, but he was pretty open about all the nonsense I was talking to him about. So I appreciated that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, that's what happens when you sell your soul to the devil early on. You know?
Right. Exactly. It was early on. Yeah, you're right.
Yep.
You didn't mention the 5-Headed Dog record. That was a swing.
Yeah. Thank you. Nobody ever talks about that record. Yeah, that was.
I like it. It's.
Yeah.
You got that Brainiac cover on there. It's freaking awesome.
Really. That was in the pandemic. We didn't have much going on. Certainly weren't doing any touring. I had done the Get the Sacrifice record. We were going to do this big tour and shake hand, as you know, and then
last time we talked,
that was a big bummer, total bummer. So I never got to do anything with that record, and I was kind of in an acoustic mood to some degree. So let's just do some. And we recorded a bunch of stuff already, and as well as the Melvins 1983 stuff, and then I go, let's just do some acoustic versions of Melvin songs. Okay. So then I would go home and figure out 3 or 4 songs, maybe, or, 2 to 4 songs the night before, and then bring them in and show the guys, let's play this. Dale would usually remember them, or some weird cover, and they'd pick it up really fast. And by the time each day was done, we would have at least 2 songs done. And on some of them, like the Night Goat song, Night Goat to me, that's the definitive version. I think it's the best version we ever did.
Well, it's closer to how you guys do it live, versus like the record, which is like it's the same, but it's different, man.
Yeah. I think that one came out better than any of the other versions we've ever done. And then there's a few other ones on there that I really like. The Brainiac, I've always loved Brainiac. That stuff's great. I mean, I think Electroshock for President is one of my favorite records. Yeah,
it's amazing. Yeah,
love that record, and it was so terrible what happened, but it was fun to do that, and it was really fun. Steven had this idea to do the Turtles cover, and those guys are such good players. It was so easy to do and really fun. We had fun every single day doing it. A lot of joking around during a pandemic where you can't do anything, and
right.
We just did it anyway, and it was, by the time we were like, well, maybe we should make it a double album. And then we keep going. Well, maybe we should make, this and that. And it ends up being 4 albums. I call it Ipecac. I go, what would you think if it was 4 albums? Oh, that's fine. Sure. Go ahead.
Enablers.
Yeah, it should be a big record. Yeah, we'll do it. I'd love to do a tour like that.
How do you mean? So you break it up in different like segments or something?
No, Melvin's acoustic tour. I would love to do that.
Oh, that makes way more sense.
Yeah, and then I think that would be really fun. Maybe we'll get to do that. I would love to do it.
Yeah. I mean, that's you're going out with Trevor. I mean, that's going to be like some close approximation of that. I know when I saw you Great American Music Hall do an acoustic, I think you did like Boris, I think, and carried over. It worked.
I think I had a great time. I did 100+ shows by myself on acoustic, doing around all the way, Europe, the U.S., and Australia, and This one with Trevor is going to be, I don't know, 70 plus shows. What time we're?
Who's doing the driving?
Well, I like to be behind the wheel.
Okay, all right.
Gareth's going with us probably, and then we'll see what happens. But I haven't. We did a Melvins light tour with Trevor.
Yeah, the 50 states in 50 days thing was part of that, right? Yeah.
51 days. Yeah, every state plus DC in 51 days.
Yeah.
And we did.
Suck it, Thorogood.
Yeah, and made a movie about it. Where each state gets 1 minute. So it's a 50 plus credit, so it's a 53-minute movie. And it came out great. It was really fun. Yeah. But so I'm really looking forward. Trevor's an exceptional talent. I'm really looking forward to getting going on that. And but we've had a few tragedies this year with Dale screwing up his neck really bad, and having to have a really severe operation on it, and he seems to be recovering fine. And but we had to do a last minute replacement of him with Cody in order so we didn't have to cancel the tour with Boris 5 days before the tour. And fortunately he was able to do it, and that worked out good. We had to cancel just 2 shows he had prior commitments on.
One was with us, I know.
That was it though. So we were lucky.
Yeah.
So and so now we're just gonna have him play with us. So when Dale comes back, it'll be 2 drummers.
2 drummers again. That's fantastic. Yeah, and at least he already knew the Bullhead stuff from when you guys had done 10 years before, where you toured Bullhead and Houdini, maybe, right?
He only played songs that he was familiar with at all.
Yeah.
And what was really funny is you see some people complaining, I don't understand why they didn't do any new stuff. It's like, well, if you don't understand.
The one time that people complain about that.
I don't understand why we couldn't do that. It's
yeah.
You can just blow me.
Low information fans, yeah. Well, I was talking to Cody at that show, and I was like, it's amazing to be in Bullhead. I feel like that to me is the record that is Dale's, it brought him to the attention of people of oh, this is a for real, one of the best drummers going kind of thing. So it's intimidating even for someone as a talent as Cody is, to be like, all right, here, you played these a while ago, you just got off tour doing something else. Jump right in, what a hero.
Got 3 days before the first show.
Yeah. I mean, he's the only guy that could do it, I think. I mean,
Our music is filled with all kinds of hiccups and, weird, hiccup timing. It's not easy stuff to play. And like Steven's played with Beck and Sparks and, all kinds of people. And he's like, this is by far the hardest music I've ever done. That stuff is child's play compared to what we're, all the weird timings. And I don't really know where that stuff comes from. I write it, and it's just what, I don't know how to count music, or I don't know how to read music. So
it's just your natural timing that comes out when you play, right?
And so I think it comes out of, a lot of Captain Beefheart crossed with Gang of Four, and, stuff where normal time, and even Bowie to a lot of degrees.
Sure.
Odd timing stuff, and it just kind of felt right to me. 4/4, it works sometimes, but it to me is the most unnatural. There's nothing 4/4 in nature. What would it be? Your heartbeat isn't it 4/4? It's all over the place. It's just like there's no straight lines or even. It sounds unnatural to me to some degree. That's like playing to a click track. Yeah, you can do it, but I don't mind stuff speeding up or slowing down. It doesn't bother me. It's okay. It's like your heart. Your heart speeds up and slows down all day long, depending on how you feel. We're not robots. We're almost like we're spiritual human beings that need this magic that is stuff like music that we really don't have an explanation for why we like. But it seems to strike everyone in a way that is as old as history itself. I don't know why it's so important. It just is. It feels right. So stuff like that sounds like, it feels to me like it comes out of the cosmos.
Mm.
Or part of our DNA somehow. Even the earliest cultures had some kind of music, something, whether it was rhythms or whatever it was. It means something to us on a level that we maybe should never understand and just enjoy. So the 4/4 thing, I was able to get out of that pretty easily. And no, but not everybody's like that. Lots of drummers cannot do that. So anyway,
well, there'll be. I was just gonna say, there's music that like is very well composed and structured and like on the whatever on the grid, and it's soulless. There's nothing. It's like this. I don't care about this. There's nothing here.
Some bands can pull it off, like Kraftwerk or somebody like that. But
sure.
But not. It's as a normal thing. I shy away from it.
Yeah. Well, and. If it's not natural for you, then it's not natural for you. Why would you?
Yeah. So never let it worry me. It's just like, I write songs in a linear fashion. A lot of times this stuff doesn't repeat. I've done that over and over where it goes through, But a lot of that was from, various songs I thought were really cool that didn't have that kind of a natural or the Chuck Berry, song structure. It's okay to not be part of that,
right.
When
it comes time to picking a set, obviously for something like where Cody's filling in last minute and it's the Bullhead celebration, that's easy. But for a regular set, I always felt you guys did a really good job of being a catalog band where you have like, you're the stuff you're most excited about, like there's stuff on the new record, but also you'll play certain songs for a while and then kind of like take them out of rotation, put them back in, take this one out of, dry dock, bring it into set, so on and so on. How do you figure that out?
Well, we'll talk about it long before we ever do a tour. And go, you know what? I'd like to play this song. Or I'm sick of this song. Or how do you want to start this tour? What do you think would be good? And we really do approach it like you would a Broadway musical. Like there's a beginning, a middle, and an ending. And it's more than just a set list to us. It's like it's not just, well, let's do this set list tonight and that set list tonight. That doesn't seem right to me. The whole hour, if we're playing an hour, that's all important to me. All of it. And like if you go see West Side Story, they're not changing up the set list every night. It's in this order, and so we work that all out in the studio, in the practice place before we ever play live, that set live, and try to find something that seems like it works really well and has, an ebb and a flow to it that makes sense. Because I've toured with bands, like Primus. We toured with Primus at their absolute zenith.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And they would do a different set every night, and some nights it just did not work. They picked the wrong set. You have 5,000 people here, and you've lost them within 2 songs because your set's not right. You have 2 12-minute songs that are mid-tempo songs to start the whole set, and this audience not by, they're just, you can just watch the audience level, energy level just die. And I think that there's a place for those kinds of songs, but it all depends on how you introduce them live and what will work and if you're even going to play the whole thing. I mean, there's a lot of things to consider that you can't comprehend by just writing them out on a piece of paper. I think our set to me is more important than just a list of songs. And I want to work out all those problems at the studio. I don't want to work that out in front of the audience,
Right. Well, it's almost like, I don't know if you're ever a mixtape kind of guy, but it's almost like you're doing a real-time mixtape, right? There's a flow to it. It has to, one goes into the other, and, there's a...
I do all the time. I do that all. I have stuff. I have certain playlists that I want to listen to when I'm on my way to the golf course. I have playlists that I play when I it's late at night and I'm driving. I don't want to fall asleep. You know,
Right. You want to keep the energy up, right? Sure, because you want to stay awake.
you're not playing Hank Williams songs at that point.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Oh, it's good.
Probably
What's the slowest BPM we can go to? Yeah.
Probably going to be a speed metal at that point. You know,
Right.
Whatever it is, hardcore punk rock, speed metal. You know,
Yeah.
Probably not going to be Patsy Cline. You know.
Right, exactly. No, but putting a set together, right? It's the same sort of deal where the energies, there's a give and take to it. You want to,
Yes,
if you bring it up, you bring it down, you kind of bring it back up again. Like there's a whole kind of feel to it.
I think I'm a huge fan of Broadway musicals, so I understand how they work. I'm not an expert by any means, but I know what I like about them, and I think that's a good thing. To embrace. And a band like Alice Cooper's, their band, they always embrace it.
Oh yeah.
You know, they were very theatrical, and there's a reason why they did everything. And
I mean, he got like guillotined in the like there's whole stage movements and things like that. Yeah.
First song. You know?
Yeah. Let's start off with that.
They cut his head off in the first song, and that was it.
Yeah.
Over.
Yeah.
But,
go home, everybody.
Alice is dead. But
Can't do it.
all that stuff is important. And I've heard people go, well, don't you get bored playing the same songs? I go, these songs never bore me. You know, I'm never bored playing this stuff in front of new audience every night.
Right.
If you're bored doing what you do, then you're boring. Yeah. I'm just as excited playing a song like, Night Goat or Honey Bucket every night than I was when I, first played it. But then there's times where I go, well, we played such and such song a lot. Yeah, we got so many songs. Let's do something else for a while. And I'm just as excited about those as well.
Do you ever think of any of them like baby pictures? We're like, oh wow, this one's we like. Is it nice to like go back and find the simplicity maybe of some of the earlier songs, like the faster ones, like for instance, like in the first record or something along those lines?
We've done some of that stuff. Yeah. I mean, our first 7-inch was last year we did a record, The Devil You Knew, The Devil You Know, right. We recorded our first 7-inch, and you got on the record, you got both, and I was
about that. Yeah.
Really impressed with how actually difficult that stuff was. I was like, oh wow, we actually, these songs are more complicated and weird than I remembered.
Yeah.
And it was fun to redo them. I think we did really good versions of them. Now it was a good fit. Really good fun thing to do. I'm not afraid of that kind of stuff. I mean, I would love to re-record, Stoner Witch and Stag. I'd love to re-record that.
Just have something a little more immediate because those are sort of like more produced affairs.
Yeah, probably, and I think we'd probably do a better job.
You also have decades of playing all those songs now, so.
But I know I'd have to really have a specific reason why I wanted to do that, and I probably wouldn't waste it. But I'd like to, but I don't know. I don't think we'll ever do it. Probably.
Cheap Trick did that with the In Color record. They re-recorded it. They never released it, but they re-recorded it, and it's I was never finished, but like it's on the internet if you want to look for it. It's pretty freaking awesome, honestly. Like it made me kind of re-examine how great that record is, because they worked with a producer that was very like kind of didn't care so much about a band in a room. They want listen to the original version. I Want You to Want Me, where it's like honky tonk like piano, kind of like it's totally differently, but they never release it. I don't know why. I got to get him on the show so I can ask him, I guess. I don't know, but
have any on the show?
No, I fucking love that. I've had a couple near misses, but you think they don't live that far away? I could just stalk them. Hey, come on the show.
Yeah, just go down there.
Yeah. Rick and his son do like a thing. It's called like the Nielsen test, I think, if I remember right. And they play around now and again, but it never seems to be at a time that I can go, make a day trip down to what's their town? Rockford.
Rockford.
I can't say Rockville, but that's from Flintstones. It's definitely not Rockville.
Rockville. Yeah.
No, I would fucking love to have anyone from Cheap Trick on the show. You kidding me? Yes, please. And I'm the guy that should do it. Let's put it in the world right now.
You should get
Cheap Trick. Call me.
Get Dax, the drummer. He'd do it. You know?
You know what? That's a good idea. He's a friend of a friend. I should look into him.
Yeah, he would totally do it.
He seems like a nice guy.
He could tell you all kinds of things about Cheap Trick. I'm sure he's played with them now for. Yeah, I love Cheap Trick. I think they're great.
Yeah,
Really
that's a great band.
Cheap Trick are amazing. They're maybe never got their due. You know.
Mm-hmm. I'd agree with that.
Maybe. Yeah. And still super nice guys and still play great. The shows are still. And, more power to them. I'm all for it.
Yeah, it's interesting that they revisited it in color, but it's interesting that they didn't choose to release it because I was like, oh, this is like, I like the in color record, but I was like, I would have loved the in color record if I had heard it like this before because it was, you know, just very authoritative. It sounded like how they sounded live. It was very stripped down, but it was like these songs lend themselves well to that. And it's not that the other record was bad;
Yeah.
it just was a different way of looking at it. You know, like Live at Leeds.
Yeah, didn't wasn't that record in color originally recorded by who's the guy that did the Beatles record? I'm trying to think of his name.
George Martin. You're talking about?
I think he
really.
I think he might have produced. Yeah.
Oh man,
I might be,
I'll do a real.
but I'm not 100% sure. But I think he may have produced. Yeah.
He definitely did some stuff with them. Let's see. Let me look.
I don't know.
Now I'm curious.
You get the internet.
Tom Werman.
Oh, it wasn't that one.
He did like REO Speedwagon and Ted Nugent, Boston and stuff.
Got it. I was wrong. See, I was no.
It's a real-time fact check.
Worked with George Martin on something.
They did. I don't remember which one it was though. Was it maybe?
I don't know.
That was
my guess.
This
oh, wrong. So there you go.
It's possible.
Yeah.
cheap. We should go to Cheap Trick quiz show. Oh my god, I can't speak. George Martin. I'm just gonna look it up right now. This is the advantage of not being really loud. Oh, All Shook Up.
Oh,
George Martin.
That's what it was.
Oh, that's the one that's.
That's not in color. All Shook Up was the one I was actually thinking. That's the cover with the blue cover with the train.
Yes. it's like it's kind of artsy looking. There's an eye or something. Yeah.
Color is the one with the
motorcycles.
Yeah,
and then on the back, it's
right.
They have the two cool guys in the front, and then the two uncool guys in the back. You know, as the record company termed it, which is hilarious to me. Yeah.
I knew it.
Yeah.
Because I was actually thinking the All Shook Up record when I was thinking George Martin. You know, so.
Yeah, that's one's got like Stop This Game and
yeah.
George not bad. George, how old must he have been at that point? Because that's like 1980, I think, something like that.
Yeah, he can't hear anything, so the high end's all cranked up.
Exactly.
A lot of high end.
But hey, it's George Martin. You've recorded a record with George Martin. You know, congratulations.
High end. It's all we can hear. High end. I'm pretty. I did the Beatles. Fuck you guys. You know?
Yeah, exactly. I think I need your asses.
Yeah.
Buzz, tell me about the Throbbing Jazz Gristle Funk Hits record. I thought that was kind of cool.
Oh, I did a whole album of Throbbing Gristle covers, and we've been wanting to do that for a long time. I'm a huge fan of that stuff. My favorite record of theirs is Heathen Earth. And wanted to do something with Void Mains. It was just cool, and Toshi, and so we'd worked on that for a long time. That's been fuck. That could have came out. That could have came out well before the pandemic. We just didn't have it done. And so, I mean, how many bands have done a full covers album of Throbbing Gristle covers?
Not many.
I don't know if anybody other than us, you know. But Throbbing Gristle crossed with Captain Beefheart crossed with Judas Priest. You know,
Yeah. I mean, they're a formative influence for you, right? So I mean, that's
huge, massive, and I love that stuff. I love everything about it, and none of it, even the weirdest Throbbing Gristle stuff, doesn't even sound that weird now.
right. It's been
But-
mainstream, right?
In order to be that weird, as weird as they were then, I don't know what you'd have to do now. You know.
That's a good question. I don't even know. Yeah, I mean, think of like Genesis's whole thing, right? I mean, it was, at the time that was who. There was no frame of reference. Let's put it that way. All right?
No, I would say no. There's nothing like it, and I will always be a huge fan. And it was great to do that, and really fun to do it with Void Mains, who we really like a great deal, and that stuff is right up his alley. It's perfect for him.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely his thing.
Yeah, and we all loved it, and I think it's a really interesting and fun record. You know,
His so of course Genesis Purge passed on in 2020, but do you know if anyone from Throbbing Gristle has actually heard it?
oh yeah, we paid him for it, so I know they had to.
Oh, so they not only heard it, they're aware of it because they got paid from it. Nice.
They got so yeah, two of them are dead now. So
Yeah, because Peter passed away like 10 years ago or something, right?
yeah, and because when we did a record with Lesmore, he knew all those guys really well, and he was like, well, there's a reason they called him Sleazy.
Speaking of Peter Christopherson, did you see that documentary about the Hypnosis, the album cover people?
No, he was all involved with all that stuff, but I love the covers.
It's the documentary. I highly recommend it. It's fascinating. It's super good. I highly recommend it if you can find it.
Him in it.
Yeah, they got some. It's mostly the one dude. Frickin' hold on. Because what was the main guys was Storm and Aubrey Powell, right? So it's mostly the I think Aubrey Powell's the one doing the most talking, and most of the stuff with Thorgerson is archival material because he passed away in like 2013 or something. So like, but it's really well done, and I think it establishes. Like it used to be like if you make a record, like no, you have to go to a place to like take a picture of the thing that is like this whole opera, and there's a budget of like, here's like $1 million, go to Hawaii and and shoot the record cover, and like the level of excess and stuff with that was honestly like even knowing, as being a total nerd for that kind of stuff, even knowing like a lot of the minutia with it, just to see it all put together like that is pretty freaking awesome. I thought it was a well done documentary.
I gotta see it. Do you remember the name of it?
It's.
I'll look for it.
I'm gonna say I'm giving them free advertising. You think I would, but I don't. I think it's like Pretty as a Picture or some crap like that.
Okay. My favorite cover of theirs that they did might be Adam Hart Mother, maybe.
Oh, that one's a great one. Yeah. Oh, Squaring the Circle. It's called Squaring the Circle: The Story of Hypnosis. There you go.
Okay, with the cow.
Yeah. So it's so good, and they get into that one. They get in. I mean, like the Pink Floyd record where it's with the pig in the factory, and like they talk about like the pig balloon getting loose, and everybody being pissed at them.
Yeah, flying up into outer planes, getting all free.
Yeah, air traffic control being all worked up about it. Yeah, it's pretty great.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they did so many covers, and you see ones. Oh, I didn't know that was them.
Yeah, Zeppelin, all the like the one with like the children on the freaking weird looking mountain and stuff like that, and all that stuff. It's great.
House of the Holy.
House of the Holy, yeah. And even the ones where I'm like, like the story's interesting, even if I don't care about the record that much. Like the one where it's like the bar, the old timey bar. It's still kind of cool to see that put together.
Yeah, and you know what was weird about that record when it came out originally? There was water-based paint on it, on the inside cover.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So if
which
you
is crazy.
wet your finger and rub your finger across it, then you could see the color. It was such
Yeah. Oh, and
there we go. Sorry.
And we're back. That's fine.
A fucking eclipse is fucking everything up.
It's the eclipse. I read on the internet that the eclipse.
Eclipse is fucking everything up. It's horrible.
I've heard from reputable sources, aka a guy on the internet, that the eclipse was the cause of all my problems.
The world is gonna.
Yeah, let's pull all the kids out of school. All right, sure.
The world's not gonna end, but you're gonna end.
Exactly. One can hope. Jesus Christ. How long have you guys been doing stuff with Toshi at this point? It's got to be like 20 years at least, right?
Yeah, close to that. The first record we did with him was Hostile Ambient Takeover.
Yeah.
And I went to that studio and I met him because I was Tool were there doing bass and guitar. And there's a little studio. It was like an overdub studio in the Valley in LA. And I went over there because I was friends with those guys when they were recording. I can't remember which record it was, but they were recording. And Tosh was the second engineer there, the house engineer. And so they were running around, he was running around doing stuff in the studio. And I looked at the studio and go, wow, this place is kind of cool. It wasn't really big. And so a lot of bands would do, drums in a bigger studio and then go there and do vocals and, guitars, bass, stuff like that. It was what Tool was doing. I don't think they did the vocals there, but they certainly did the guitar and the bass. And then when I was looking for a studio, I met Tosh there, and he was fresh out of recording school because he came from Japan to go to recording school in LA. And then so I kept that studio in mind, and then we were going to do Hostile Ambient Takeover. I got a hold of the studio and wanted him to do the second the engineering. And we go in and we show up with our gear on the first day, and he goes, "Well, who's your producer for this?" And I go, "Well, you know how to run all this stuff, don't you?" Yeah. And I go, "Well, let's go."
Yeah. What's the problem? Let's ride.
I was like, we've made a lot of records. We just, you know how to run the gear. We'll take it from there. That's how we had a great time. Then we did the Lustmord record there at the same time we were doing the Biafra, Never Breathe What You Can't See.
Right.
No, Zig Howdy. We did Zig Howdy there.
The first one. No, was it the second one? Fuck, I can't remember.
Zig Howdy.
Okay.
So Biafra can't get to the studio before about 5 in the afternoon. And so we've rented the studio.
Yeah.
And so
you already got it.
Why don't we just record without telling him? We just record from like 11 till he gets there, whenever he gets there. Because so we recorded the whole entire Lustmord record on the off time that Biafra wasn't there. And then after
good value.
After like a few days, he shows up a little early. He goes, "You guys are recording? What are you doing?" And I go, "Oh, we're making a whole nother." You guys are making a whole nother. Has nothing to do with our album. Yeah. The studio's paid for.
Yeah.
Okay. He was a good.
Why are you doing that, Buzz?
We're like, well, we're just sitting on our ass here and waiting.
Yeah. Right.
Might as well in a studio. It's like it wasn't that hard of a decision. Let's just do it. I had the material, so I'd already written all the stuff I was going to write for Jello. It was not that hard to do. Not that much of a stretch for us. The gear's set up. Go for it. And that was really fun too because one day I got there early, maybe and I had this idea song that I'd written the night before, and Dale shows up, and I go, "I got this idea," and so I played it for him. He goes out, learns it, and then we track the drums, do the guitar. And I was like, "Okay, fuck it, I'll just do the bass." I have lyrics written, do the vocals, do the guitar overdubs in about 2 hours from the first time Dale learned it to the time we were done tracking it. and
That's impressive.
That was the Bloated Pope. That song.
Oh, which is like, yeah. I mean, you guys had that in the live set for forever too. That's a banger of a song.
Had it in the last live set, and that's all just me and Dale, and Kevin shows up then, around, I don't know, 1 or so, and he's like, "What's that?" I go, "This is a song we tracked this morning." He goes, "Fuck, I wish I had played on it." Oh well, I couldn't wait,
snooze you lose.
Yeah, and it ended up being like probably my favorite song on the record. But sometimes that's how it works.
Well, inspiration strikes. If you're around to take advantage of it, then you're around to take advantage of it.
Yeah,
nothing wrong with that.
And then you get that kind of stuff done, and so they have a bunch of big riffs for a lot of the on there, and you got to do Todi Acceleratio, which was I really wanted to do that for a long time, and which was really fun. And then working with Lusmore was great. So we really only had to come up with about half an album, right?
Because you did the other half on the sly, yeah.
And half an album, and it was a combination with Lusmore. So Lusmore stuff. He has to add stuff. So we maybe came up with a little more than half of an album. And since it was a combo, then no problem. Yeah.
Right. How I seem to recall. I mean, I was a big fan of Big Business. Like whatever, was around for that band since the inception, and before, and played a bunch of shows with them. I was so excited when I had heard that when they had joined up with you guys. I am a big fan of the Senile Animal record.
Oh yeah,
and that one to me is sort of like that's where I feel like, as much as I love Hustle and Takeover, I love the Biafra records, so on and so on. But that, I mean, I would, if I was to rank your catalog for my personal taste, that's maybe the top for me. Yeah, and it's certainly top 3.
Yeah, I really like that record. That was I was a very discouraged fellow when I was writing a lot of that stuff because things had not worked out with Kevin.
Right.
And when we had to part ways with him as a result of his extracurricular activities, I was not in a good space. Very discouraged, and but it all worked out in the end. Kevin's great, and we're all friends, But it took a long time for that to get to that point. But I wrote all that stuff, a lot of that stuff, when I was not sure exactly what was going to happen with the band. But songs on there like Blood Witch, I think, are one of my favorite songs I've ever written. We got the idea to do, started thinking about who we could get for bass, and we'd played with Big Business, and I was like, why don't we just get both those guys?
Yeah,
just
change it up.
And it was great. That was really revitalized the band and really helped. But we told them from the beginning, I'm not going to put myself in a position like I did with Kevin ever again. And I was like, me and Dale do, that's the Melvins, whatever it is. And so you guys have to keep your own band going. You have to. You need your own focus on what you're doing. And not that they wouldn't have, but I was just like, that's part of the deal. It's just like, I don't want
because you like their band. You want it to continue to be a band and continue to do cool stuff, right?
I want to continue, but I also didn't want to hang all my hopes on one hanger, Like if something else, I'm going to do it. I'm done. I'm done with this kind of looking at it from the perspective of this is it, And
it has to be these 3 people always, yeah.
Right. And that's how it always was before that. Well, this is the band. We're going to continue like that. And then after the Kevin thing, I was like, well, we've been doing this long enough now that I'm not going to limit myself to just to that at all. So let's get these guys that can have their own band. Great. And we do whatever we want. So then we were able to do that and the record with Trevor at the same time, and lots of stuff like that. And then got Steven, and there was never any blow up with the Big Business guys or fuck you guys, you're out. That was never it. Because I'm not in that position. I'm not in that position to have to do that. Like that was all good from the beginning. And so we did 3 albums with them, and at least an EP, a really great live album, tons of shows, probably over 1,000 shows, and it was great. And now we're going to be playing back again with Cody. So I'm really
with Cody getting the double drumming again. Yeah.
Animal was a lot of fun to make. Talking Horse, I really like that song, and Blood Whip, probably my two favorites. And
I like the on the live set this last time you had History of Bad Men, but with the Civilized Worm kind of intro. Yeah. I was like, oh, that's funny.
Yeah. But we played since those guys were just with Steven. We did.
Yeah.
Work.
Yeah.
And so we're definitely going to revisit a lot of the double drummer stuff when we get Cody back in the band, especially for live stuff. That'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I was excited. I got to see a lot of those shows. I thought they were really cool. The first one I think was the one where Big Business played, and then I think Tim Moss's band played. Altamont played before, and then Dale came out during the last Big Business song. Like there was like a soft transition into being Melvins from Big Business. I thought that was cool.
Forced into the one big band.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. Well, the first tour we did with them was like 7 dates in the U.S. straight. It's like we hadn't played in a while, and we had that album out, and we just hit it pretty hard with those guys. It was great, really, really. Yeah. And the thing about it is, that was a long time ago, and I just turned 60 in March, and I don't feel like I have to slow down at all. So I'm not going to.
Look at Mick Jagger. He's pissing off Tony Visconti right now, and he's like 1,000 years old.
Idiot. Who would have guessed that he's going to make it is 80 years old,
Yeah. It's amazing.
because the English are pirates. They're pirate stuff.
Right. They got that pirate blood. Exactly. Yeah.
That's how they took almost the whole world on the island the size of California.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
What a run. They had an amazing run,
It was a great run, everybody. And now look at them.
Unbelievable run.
Ran around boiling meat.
One for sure. Those English are tough bastards. No question.
Tell me about the singles. I don't think we ever talked about those, the AMREP singles, like in '96 or whatever. I know you did those. You had those shows in Spaceland. I think it was still Spaceland. Maybe it was a satellite at that point. I can't remember. That's the one that had there was Les Gone Devil cover. There was the Way of the World, all that stuff.
Yeah, I'd have to look at the list. It was a long time ago.
There's a lot of kind of weird. There was a faux. There was a faux Britpop song.
Yeah. Well, it was a hyper limited singles. That was the beginning of our limited edition type of thing that we've done with Hazelmeyer ever since.
Right.
I really like that idea of not including a record store into it. I mean, with the stuff we do with AMREP now, I would happily sell them to record stores, but I'm not going to go looking to do it.
Yeah.
If they want to call us and buy them, we would happily sell them to them. And I think they should. But if they don't want to do it, I'm not going to go begging them to do it. So, but you do small enough runs that we don't have a warehouse to house thousands of records. So people are, why don't you just make more? So then everybody, well, okay, where do you suggest we put them?
Yeah, they need to actually go someplace.
Down to AMREP warehouse where we can store thousands of albums. Yeah, it's just this is crazy. Yeah. We need to just make as much as we can sell in a couple of days, and then take some on tour. So really, the only place you can get them is from online if you get the original sale, or from us. And we're going to sell them less than anybody else is going to sell them. So,
Well, and I really liked in that the documentary that those guys made that shows the whole making of the limited edition, the screen printing, no, they're literally individual objects made by human beings.
Yeah.
With a thing that goes like this.
Yes. Oh yeah, no, I really understand, as does Tom, the collector mentality. I get it, and I appreciate something that doesn't look like it was made in some factory, in bulk.
Yeah, agreed.
I like silkscreen. I like letterpress. I like all these things that not everybody is going to appreciate, but I appreciate it, but I know the people that do appreciate it really appreciate it. It's like it's like from the band to you, essentially. It's really cutting out the middleman completely, and it could not be more hands-on. It could not be, and I think that adding that human element to it is really important to some people, and it's important to me too. I collect stuff. I understand how cool that is,
Right. Like, especially in the age of like AI and everything, where it's like, no, this is the opposite of that. Like, this is like, could not be more like a human touch every part of this, hopefully not inappropriately.
It's DIY AI.
Yeah. Where's that mashup?
Everybody's
is there any
about AI now, and it's just like, look, then you have to do something that they can't, that makes it to where they can't emulate it with a computer. You got that's your job to figure that out. I mean, it's just a tool. That's all it is. That's it.
Yeah.
It's not gonna. I mean, I'm not, like I said earlier, I'm not a Luddite. It's like, this is new technology. Shouldn't we be excited about it? I'm not holding up a cross and claiming it's a devil. They've been saying that about new stuff forever.
Yeah. Well, oh yeah, like exactly. Home taping's killing the record industry. Right? Good.
On, on and on and on. And it's just like, okay, whatever. If you want to feel threatened by it, then acquire some skills that only you can do. Yeah. Make it to where no one can deny that. But if you just want to sit and complain, well, bitching's the easiest thing in the world you can do.
Yeah, they're gonna have AI doing that too.
AI, make me a bitch list, please.
Right, exactly. Make me a litany of grievances. Thank you.
Okay. I want you to be at the top of the list. Sure, yes, sir.
Well, and it's also like it can actually be utilized, especially for researching and stuff, for stuff that humans don't want to do. And like, it isn't, it's like, just because the headlines are the things of like, oh, look, it's making this art. Yeah, and it sucks. You can easily see that it is like, and some of it like I think like when it fails, it's actually more interesting. Cause it's like, wow, why are there 7 fingers on that girl's hand? I don't know.
Yeah. Cool. And the thing about it is, well, you're taking money away from a good artist. It's like, who said they were good?
That's all in the eye of the beholder. Yeah, that's for sure.
Like, so if we had just used a human, this would have been really cool, Yeah, whatever. I mean, it's like, fucking get over yourself, I mean, it pushes me back when I see people bitching and complaining about that. It's like, motherfucker, you are streaming my music every goddamn fucking day, and you don't give a shit that I'm not getting anything from it. So stick it right up your ass. If you believe that stuff, go out and buy all our albums in triplicate then. Hand them out.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck you. I don't want to hear it. I just don't want to hear it. It's like embrace the future or die like the dinosaur. That's it.
It's not really an option not to,
No. Adapt or die. Adapt or die. Adapt or die. The world, you adapt yourself to the world doesn't adapt itself to you.
How do you, I was thinking about Wayne Kramer recently, obviously, because he passed away. I feel like that's a guy who's like a titan, right? That's a guy that was changed the game, as they say.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about how that one of the only, there's like maybe 2 MC5 covers that I like, and one of them is you guys's.
Oh yeah, Poison.
Yeah, and I think that one's it's fantastic. And
we did, actually we did 2. We did Poison.
We did Rock
Ramalama.
Reducer.
Yeah,
yeah.
I love that stuff.
And I was lucky enough to see him play the MC50 with my friend Brendan and Billy Gould, and it was
Yeah.
awesome. It was killer. The guy had energy like the 20-year-old wouldn't have. Right? It was an amazing show, and I whatever. I was talking to him afterwards, brought up you guys, and he had nothing but the nicest things in the world to say about you.
Yeah.
How did the collab with him? How did that come to pass? Because he actually agreed to be on the show, but I never actually connected with him, and
Right.
that's over now.
He well, you got a Ouija board, don't you?
Get me Wayne Kramer, Ouija.
Wayne says
It'll be the.
no.
Yeah,
Wayne
it's
says
like
no.
it takes 8 hours to ask 3 questions because it's like hey, F you,
Oh.
man.
Yeah. He doesn't want to answer that one. Yeah. Well, weirdly enough, he was talking to the guy that runs Epitaph Records, which is Brett Gerwitz.
Yeah.
And at the time, it was right when we were recording Stoner Witch. He, my wife was has done over the years, especially back then, had done a lot of freelance work for Epitaph, a lot of record covers for them. Back in early to late 90s, and she's like, yeah, they're talking about doing a record with Wayne Kramer. He's over at the office talking. Like, what? Wayne Kramer? Are you kidding me? We'd already done the MC5 cover on the when he did this. I mean, I loved Wayne Kramer at that point for 20 years,
Sure.
The better part of 20 years, and she goes, I'll ask him if he wants to come to the studio and do some recording with you guys. I said, what? No, don't ask him that. Whatever you do, And she asked him. And so he goes, yeah, I'll come over. It was something that simple. So he just drives over to the studio. And then he's right in the middle of Hollywood where we're recording. And we have a whole afternoon talking with Wayne and, talking about the MC5 and all kinds of shit. As long as before he'd ever done a record with Epitaph, and he was kind of new to LA at that point, sort of. And we go, let's do a record. Okay, how about the song Poison? Fuck yeah, let's do it. That's how that worked. This is that simple.
Simple as that.
Yeah. And so we got to put our mix of that on
one of the singles, right? One of
the singles. And he took the recording. He goes, well, can I use it for my record? I was like, sure, go ahead. But he wanted to remix it, right? And so, okay. So I go to the studio. He invited me to the studio when they were remixing it. And I left when the engineer was taking a cassette mix of our version and A-Bing them. Because he didn't.
Oh, come on. Really?
Yeah. I was like, okay, I'm out of here. Bye. I just left.
Yeah. Oh, it turns out this one sounds better.
Use our version. Just use our version.
Yeah.
Wouldn't do it.
It's like John Henry versus the Machine. Yeah. Like, good luck.
Whatever. So, but I had nothing but a good time with Wayne, and then it was great to talk to Wayne about all kinds of stuff. It was just every question I ever had about like the song Ramblin' Rose. I love how weird and out of tune that sounds at the beginning.
Oh my god, yeah, it's so gnarly. Yeah,
he's like, oh, it was out of tune. He goes, electric, too cheap to redo it.
That's fine. It's fine.
We're not giving you any more money. That's the recording. That's how it goes. Oh, okay, it was a mistake. But
like all those records, I mean, I love them, but there's all something kind of jacked up about all of them.
Oh yeah,
like in different ways.
That record in particular, the live album is, I think, I don't know what it would be. It's like a cross between, Mitch Ryder and the Detroit Wheels crossed with I don't know what. maybe like a Sun Ra or something.
Yeah, no, because it does get very super spacey. You're right. Yeah.
But it's like they were like the real deal, and a band like Grand Funk Railroad were the AM radio version of the MC5. To me, that's what it sounds like. Sort of like the way the Almond Brothers are the real deal, and Leonard Skinner are the AM radio version of the Almond Brothers.
Sure. Yeah. Well,
Same kind of thing. Sort of like it, but not quite as cool.
there's a fellow I know from the South who's of course it's the South, but like apparently there's a radio show that just all they do is play like Almond Brothers stuff and like talk about the Almond Brothers and like, hey man, so the thing about this record is when they were doing this, like, and just like back and forth like for hours about the Almond Brothers, and like these dudes like love the Almond Brothers so much, and they have this radio show and everyone listens to it, and it's like a whole thing. That was the coolest thing.
The record that I really like of theirs is the first one. That's the one.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a fucking great record. I mean, it is unbelievable. And those guys they're barely out of their teens. I think some of them were teenagers. Like, where the hell do you get this?
Yeah.
I mean,
some real Red Cross stuff.
Oh my God, it's fucking crazy. The level of sophistication on that stuff is really crazy. I mean, what's funny is we did a Lexicon Devil. Right? And
yeah, the Germ Song. It's a great cover.
I saw Don Bowles, and I go, "Oh, we covered Lexicon Devil, and I really like that drum beat on that." He goes, "Oh no, I just copied what Nicky Beat did on the original 7-inch of it. I just copied his drum beat." Oh, okay. And then years later, I ran into Nicky Beat in L.A., and I was like, "Oh man, we did a cover of Lexicon Devil, and that drum beat on that is so fucking crazy. It's such a weird drum beat." He's Lexicon Devil. He's sitting there thinking about it. I stole that drum beat from an Almond Brothers record. I was like, how ironic!
Fantastic. I have no notes.
One of the pillars of LA punk rock is stealing shit from the Almond Brothers. I was like, and I can't remember the song, but it's a really weird drum beat. He goes, "Oh, that's an Almond Brothers beat. That's how it works."
Yeah. Wow. There you go. Yeah.
Full circle, all the way back.
Yeah. It's just, this goes to show you. It's all knowing how you do it. It's all the context, right?
Yeah.
So Buzz, what do you got? You're finally doing this tour with Trevor. That's again apparently 4 years ago, because that's the last time we talked about it.
Doing the tour with Trevor. Got a new album coming out in April. We got a double album coming out, those solo records. We got a couple limited edition things that are coming out for the tour. We're getting Cody back in the band, and we're going to do some new stuff with him, recording wise, and a bunch of live stuff planned that I can't tell you at the moment.
Sure.
And Dale's on the mend. You saw him. He seemed like he was doing.
I saw him a few weeks ago. Yeah, he's doing great.
Yeah. And so we're all happy about that. And we're just going to take it from there. I'm really looking forward to this live thing with Trevor. Trevor is such a good guy, and he's such an exceptional talent that I really can't wait to go out and do this with him. I know it's going to be a lot of fun. So we start that August 1st in the high desert in California, and then go up the West Coast, and then 45 shows later we go to Europe. Do it over there. Our last show of that tour starts August 1st, and our last show of the tour is Halloween night in London. So
yeah, I remember Halloween. Yeah.
That's can't wait.
I'll be at the whatever one's nearby me. I don't remember which one it is. Probably Milwaukee. I don't remember. Maybe it's Hainan.
I can't remember it off the top of my head. I don't know if we're playing. We might be playing Madison instead.
It might be in Madison. Yeah, whatever. I got it on my calendar. Whatever it is, it's fine.
Chicago,
Yeah, maybe either one. It's par for the course.
We're gonna do a series of little commercials that me and Trevor made that'll come out.
Oh, nice.
Tour gets close. We did one not too long, a few days ago.
I saw that one. Yeah, that was funny.
Came out.
Oh yeah, you're playing. Pincus is playing with you at the High Noon show.
Pincus.
That's right.
Every show on the tour, and I'm trying to get him on the European end of it. So
I saw him in Houston for the steel pole bathtub thinger that they did, and he was just. Well, actually, Honky was playing. That's why he was there. But like, I hung out with that dude for a while.
we are
Good
big
fella.
fans of Jeff Pincus.
Yeah, me too, man.
Jeff has gone on records with us, done a lot of live stuff. He's definitely part of our whole family, and he's an eccentric just like us, and it fits in perfect. So I can't wait. People should come. Jeff Pincus opens the shows, followed by me and Trevor, and I'm very, very excited about it. So, and thank you for the attention. I really appreciate it.
I can't believe it's been 4 years, man. I don't know what's wrong with me, but
Let's make it 8 years. Let's make it 8 years.
let's like really stretch it out next time. Exactly. No, happy to have you on, and yeah, thanks. I'm glad we got to get it in before the record came out too. So that's
All
good.
right. Thank you so much.
Always a pleasure talking to you, man. And yeah, I'll see you in August.
All right, take it easy. Bye-bye.
Later. There he goes, Buzz Osborne. Very cool. We're going to play us out with one of the songs on the new Melvins record. That is the Tarantula Heart record. So let me see if I can find where the heck that is. Here we go. It's over here. And yeah, you can go to all the places that Melvins are on the internet to find whatever Buzz is up to and whatever Melvins are up to. And yeah, this is Working the Ditch. right. There you go. That was a little bit of Working the Ditch.
Is this thing on?
That is on the brand new record, Tarantula Heart by Melvins, featuring Ray Mayorga and drums and ARP.
Can you hear me now?
ARP. ARP, ARP. It's like a seal. You can get that now wherever you get your records. That was Buzz Osborne. Hope you guys enjoyed that. It's been far too long since it's been on the show. Please go see the Buzz and Trevor Dunn tour, King Dunn, I think they're calling it. Coming probably to a city near you. Of course, the name of the show is Conan Neutron's Protonic Reversal. Thank you so very much for listening to it. This show airs generally Thursdays, 8 Eastern, 7 Central, 6 Mountain, 5 Pacific. Streaming live on YouTube and Twitch. Podcasted later everywhere. Always free. No ads, no sponsors, no kidding. However, if you like the show and you want to get episodes sooner, $1 a month at patreon.com/Protonic Reversal will achieve that goal. And it helps keep the lights on. So that's deeply appreciated by yours truly.
Signing off.
Thanks, folks, for listening to the show, sharing around on various social medias.
All ships at sea.
All that helps people discover the show, and it's just a darn nice thing for you to do. Deeply appreciated as I enter year 10 here. Or I guess it'd be entering year 11 soon.
I've got
But who's counting, really?
50,000 watts of power.
See, Ryan Patterson, the Coliseum and Photocrime coming up next. Rick Sims of the Digits after that. Roger Miller of Mission of Burma after that. Oh my God, so much great stuff coming up. Thank you so much for sticking with it. I don't take any of it lightly. Hope y'all get something out of these episodes.
This microphone
Stay safe out there.
sound into electricity.
And check you later.
Can you hear me now? Out on Route 128, it's dark and lonely. I got my radio on. Can you hear me now? 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 See the radio. And that snare drum and that drum roll means we've got a winner. If you're the fifth caller, or any caller at all, welcome to my top 10. I'd like to thank our sponsor. But we haven't got a sponsor. Not if you were the last man on earth. She was prepared to prove it. This one goes out to a special girl. There is no special girl. It's the end of radio. The last announcer plays the last record. The last what? Leaves the transmitter. Circles the globe in search of a listener. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Is it really broadcasting if there's no one there to receive? It's the end of radio. As we come to the close of our broadcast day, got my radio on. Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? This is a test! If this had been a real emergency,